Welcome to the Pizza Party. My name is Troy. Visit troysweb.com for links to my other YouTube channels. Subscribe to all the channels because there's no content there, but I'm slowly building that content. Garden Guy can't happen until next spring. But I might find some time to do some preliminary indoor get your garden started things. Anyway, stick around. You're going to like this. This is a sausage and cheese stuffed crust pizza with a soft dough, not a pre-made dough. And you're about to find out about that. So, here we are. First attempt. Sausage and cheese stuffed crust pizza. Supreme pizza, actually. And why do I say first attempt? Because I'm going to try this again. Learned a lot, right? I did it myself, right? DIY. Fooled around and found out a lot of stuff. I did something and a lot of it was wrong, but I learned from that and I'll do it better next time. I almost said correctly next time, but it may not be correct next time. It might take me 2 or 3 prototypes to find the best solution for what I'm striving for here. And it occurred to me that instead of this square pizza crust that you're about to see, if I use a 16-inch pizza crust, like a dough recipe, and I can put out a 16-inch pizza crust, then I can stuff that crust and roll that the edge over and burn up 2 inches on either side, and I end up with a 12-inch pizza that I can put on either my 16-inch pizza screen or a 12-inch pizza pan to get it into the oven. Or I could even put it outside in my my little wood pellet fired pizza oven with the pizza stone. So I have a couple of pieces of hardware, but let's talk about the software here. All right, so you can see at the top left, I've got mozzarella sticks. Well, it's a block of mozzarella cheese, the whole milk mozzarella block cheese, 1 pound, that I just cut into chunks. And then I'm going to take this sausage links on the lower right-hand corner, and I cut them lengthwise and pair them up with the cheese. And then I'm going to stuff the crust with that sausage links and the cheese. Then there's the ground the beef patties, sausage patties, which is pork sausage. Basically, it's just breakfast sausage because they don't sell ground Italian sausage that I want. I want the hot variety, but honestly, it doesn't really add that much spice. Anyway, I bought breakfast sausage and I added a bunch of Italian seasoning. You can see there's Italian seasoning, oregano, maybe a little fennel, and some other stuff. And then in the lower left-hand corner, I've got a package of baby bella mushrooms pre-sliced from the store, and then a white onion from the store, and then green peppers from the garden, jalapeno peppers from the garden, and you're about to see some tomatoes from the garden, probably. Here's where I cut the sausage, or I cut the Italian sausage links. I also ground up the pork sausage seasoned with Italian seasonings, and preheated my oven to 450. Looked at the pizza crust instructions and it says 425, but I left it at 450 because I figured it's going to be a thick pizza. You just watch. All right, but that tube of pizza dough somehow got shuffled to the back of the refrigerator where sometimes things freeze. And yeah, the pizza crust froze. So as I took it from the tube, it tore. I patched it back together the best I could, and then I took and paired up my sausage links with my cheese strips, and I tried to work my way around this dough, but it was in rough shape. It was not real cooperative. The cheese got kind of, it's not sealed. I don't have a sealed perimeter. You can see I got some holes, like down here. Here's a hole. Here's a hole. Up here in the right corner is a hole, blah, blah, blah. So this pizza crust, I think, unfolds to or unrolls to 9 by 13 or bigger. I think much bigger. Maybe it's 11 by 17. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, once I folded in the outer edges, I ended up with 8.5 by 11. So this is nothing more than a sheet of typing paper or a legal pad. 8.5 by 11 is a standard piece of paper, notebook paper. And then I took roasted peppers, roasted tomatoes that I had put into a mason jar, shown you that in previous videos, And then I used all that cheese to fill this in. You can see the crust has some yellow speckles on it, or brownish speckles, and that's granulated garlic. I watched a pizza video, and the guy said he prefers granulated garlic because it doesn't come across so strong. And since I've started using it, I prefer garlic powder. It's like a 3-to-1 ratio, or maybe a 2-to-1 ratio. If something calls for a teaspoon of garlic powder, then you would want to use 2 teaspoons of granulated garlic. If you like things really garlicky, then you would use 3 tablespoons or teaspoons of granulated garlic. And I thought, oh, well, maybe this will help me modulate and get to that perfect point of. But I haven't experimented enough specifically with, sauce flavor on that granulated versus garlic powder. But anyway, I used granulated garlic powder, which is really why I'm talking about this. At the end of the video, you're going to find out. So stick around, bear with me, we're getting there. So, like I said, I had the garden tomatoes and bell peppers in there, and some jalapeno peppers in there. And then that's the Italian blend that was in, not this video. So I didn't have that bag of cheese blend, but I bought a 1 pound bag and a 6 ounce bag of Italian blend and a 6 ounce bag of parm. I put them in one big Ziploc bag and mix it all up, and then I just used that as my pizza cheese. Okay, it was serviceable, and I've moved beyond that. I started buying the 1 pound block of whole milk mozzarella cheese. It's pretty melty and it's pretty squishy, and it's kind of tough to get through the cheese grater. I mean, it's okay, but it smushes and smears a lot because it's so soft. But that's fine. I've tried it both ways. I've grated it, and I've also blocked it up or cut little slabs and then spread that on my pizzas. Fool around, find out, dude. That's the only way you're going to learn. Do it yourself. Fool around, find out. Do something even if it's wrong. You're going to figure out what works. As I always say. There it is with the cheese. Now I've hit it with the layer of the Italian sausage, or the seasoned breakfast sausage. Then I hit it with some mushrooms. Then I hit it with the peppers, onions, and jalapenos. Then I covered that in more cheese, and then I pre-baked it. And now you can see that crust and that edge. If I could have stopped there, it probably would have been pretty good, because I think the cheese was still fully intact in the pizza crust, but it wouldn't have been hot enough. As you'll see coming up, a couple more slides, a couple more photos, and here we are. After I pre-baked it, I pulled it out, added some pepperonis, threw it back in, and let that crust get just a little too brown. That granulated garlic kind of gave me a burnt garlic flavor, and it wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad. I mean, it's really hard to make a bad pizza, I'm telling you, unless you really burn that crap out of something. So here we are. It was a beautiful looking pizza. I cut it up, and you can see that when it was cut, a lot of that cheese is still shredded chunks. It didn't melt. So that's a problem with the pre-shredded cheese. Is it seems to have a higher melting point. It has some anti-caking powder on it, or some kind of chemical to keep the shredded slivers from sticking together. But another factor here, because I'm learning, I have overloaded my pizza. I knew that I would have to cook it longer, but I'm pulling it out of the oven sooner. And if I microwave one of these slices, like when I reheat pizza to eat, I'm either going to throw in the microwave and nuke it, and then that cheese will probably get pretty melty. And my pizza crust won't get any more brown, but it will also probably be kind of soggy and damp, like microwave pizza does to the bottom of pizza crust. But I've tried throwing things like this in the little air fryer that I have. It dries it out pretty well, but it also dries out the crust, which is cooked already too much. The edge crust. The bottom crust comes out all right. It does get hot enough, almost hot enough to melt the cheese. So what I've started doing is microwaving a slice for like 30 seconds. And what I really want to get is a microwave safe raised grid, so that the pizza isn't sitting directly on a paper plate or directly on the glass surface inside the microwave, and only a heathen would do that. You would have to wash your glass tray every single time. So I put it on a paper plate, throw it in there, but the paper plate absorbs moisture and the oils that are in the pizza crust, and then I have to wash off the glass anyway. You know what it is. You know what I'm talking about. You feel me? So I nuke it for 30 seconds. I'd love to have that on a microwave safe raised rack so that the air can circulate underneath and not be trapped. But then from there, I throw it into my 8-inch cast iron pan and I put it on the stove. Cover it with a piece of tin foil, and that traps the heat in there, but now I'm getting the bottom crust to brown. I've already nuked it for a short period of time to get the middle, right? If you're not familiar, microwaves heat from the inside out. And microwaves heat by vibrating or causing the water molecules in the food to vibrate, and as they begin to reach a certain point, they boil. They get hot. That's why if you microwave things too long, it's taking the moisture in the food. As I understand it, I haven't even asked AI about this. I just remember old science videos about are microwaves safe? Yes, they are. But it's vibrating the water. The water comes to a boil sometimes, vaporizes inside the food, and now you have soggy food that came out of the microwave after you reheated it. So what I'm doing is I'm getting it a preliminary heat in the microwave and then moving it into the cast iron pan just on the stovetop covered with a piece of tin foil. And the bottom crust is going to get quite a bit browner. Another option is throw it in the oven, 350 or 400 degrees for a couple of minutes after you've nuked it. Microwaving it for 30 seconds just gets you a little head start, but it doesn't get your food soggy. Anyway, I think I've beat a dead horse here. This thing was really delicious. I'm going to try this again. I'm definitely going to repeat the stuffed sausage and cheese in the crust. I'm probably going to do it with a round pizza. Probably going to cut my sausage links, Italian sausage, in half so that they're shorter, and it'll make it easier to bend. It'll be more like not an octagon, a sextinagon, a decagon. I don't know. Right? A stop sign is an octagon, 8 sides. A decagon, wouldn't that be 20-sided? So that I could have incremental straight portions in the perimeter of my circle. Anyway, hopefully you enjoy that, and you'll enjoy what I'm talking about next, which is everything that's coming up on the channel, and hopefully you will subscribe, you will click like, you will share this with your friends. The share button's cool, pops up a little window, has a link, and it asks, do you want to email? Do you want to text it? Do you want to Facebook it? Do you want to Twitter it? Do you want to Instagram it? And it's really a useful button that I think it goes underutilized on YouTube. So leave a positive comment and I will reply. Hope you will subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those things, and keep coming back.